Hey everybody, what's up from Roll, Minnesota, your state of skate. Hey, I'm Butch Lehman, and today we're in for another episode of Skate Battles, where we pit two professional blading parts against one another in a head-to-head showdown. Today we're going OG with two of my favorite sections out there from two of the best, most well-reputed inline skaters, and that's Alex Broskow's part in KFC 3, and that's going to be taking on Chris Farmer's part in Words. This is going to be an epic battle, an epic showdown, and I invite you to join me for these two. Alright, we're going to get things going first with Alex Broskow's part in KFC 3. Now, Alex Broskow is one of the legendary skaters from Kansas City, and this video series was amazing. Growing up watching these videos was always a highlight, and if you wanted to get stoked for skating, all you had to do is pop in an all-star lineup of Chris Farmer in these videos, Alex Broskow in these videos. You got Chris Haffey. I mean, you're really getting into some top-level skating. And this is one of the parts out there that I think people look back and reflect on as being the golden era of blading. And Alex Broskow is definitely no stranger to speed and hammers in this. Got that true spin back Savannah, or just back Savannah if you call it that way. And really long hold of the front side going all the way around this long rail. Pretty legendary spot too in terms of skating history. Coming up here with a really big gap. And Alex Broskow has some of the biggest gaps ever in the history of blading. And we're going up a rail this time and then going back down. This was back in his days of riding for rollerblade, and I don't know if you guys remember the creamsicle, orange-sickle-like skates, and that's what he's riding in these. You can't really tell because it's black and white, but that was a really attractive and unusual skate that was released back in that TRS series. So I was a big fan of those. The Broskow 2 skates were also really cool. Nice transfer on that one. 360 out, really smooth. And we get all the B-roll here of him in a straight jacket, and when I think of straight jacket and skating, besides the title of this video, big fish brain to drop here too. Wasn't quite able to absorb it, but he's going to redeem himself here. Switch to the fisheye angle. Look at that. Doesn't even touch the ground with his hands and is able to absorb the shock. But going back to the straight jacket, I think of Carlos Pianowski. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Fruit Booter, but in that video part, Carlos is wearing the straight jacket as he's doing a drop rail with a front side grind. Very dangerous trick, would not recommend, but it's a really cool video. Massive 540. Going up and over, too. Jumping over railings with gaps makes it all the more dangerous, because you got to watch out for clipping your feet. This is another one that I really liked, is how he's able to redirect his momentum coming off the wall ride and be able to push off enough to still roll away. Really clean alley-oop topsoul transfer on that one, too. That's what you get from Alex Broskow, and something he's developed over the entirety of his skating career is he's always been the type of person to develop that fluidity. His technical proficiency is completely off the charts. You guys don't need me to tell you that. But I feel like in every one of his videos that he releases, it seems like things get easier for him, that the tricks come more naturally and more fluidly. And I'm pretty jealous of that because the level, the caliber of tricks that he does is also insane. Like, look at this. Lining into the fakie 720, and he absorbs it perfectly and is able to roll away. And I'm not positive, but I think one of these was left shoulder and one was right shoulder, switch and regular on the fakie 720. I'd have to watch it again to verify since they were two different camera angles, but I don't know. Doing a regular fakie 720 is a tough enough trick, but in order to do it switch as well, especially down a big stair set like that, it's pretty wild to think about. But once more, just a further testament to the ability that Alex Broskow brings to the table. Nice switch up there into the true spin topsoul, and perfect steezy spin on the way out of that one. This is another trick that has been with me for a long time, is this gap out to true top acid and the front fast slide here. That's a trick I've never understood doing on a regular obstacle, but let alone into a handicap rail where you have to get above and, you know, balance it for a ways. That's some really good body awareness and positioning. Get the big backslide. I'm not sure, I think that was like technically a backslide. Depends on where the approach was from. Setting up. I don't know who he's talking to there, but whoever he's talking to is hopefully giving him some motivation for this trick. We'll go soul grind. Take it around the turn, all the way down to the bottom. A little bit of runway out. Look at that. So much speed going into this roof grind to drop. And it's just flawless. Like I said, it's a flawless video, flawless part, and big stunt skating from Alex Broskow. All right, next we're gonna switch over to Chris Farmer, and he actually had 2 parts here in Words. This was a mind game video, and this is actually my favorite of the 2 because of the music and the way it's all edited together. The Hands on the Bible song, and this was the peak of the baggy clothing era. And Farmer's gone through a lot of transitions with his skating, with his style, and every one brings something unique to the table. And I like all of them, to be honest, but going back to like what I grew up watching, it was this part and other parts like this, and it just has that nostalgia that hits hard. This is actually a rail that I've been to before. It's over by Boom Island in Minneapolis, and it's a pretty intense rail. It's a nice low kink rail, but it's a difficult one to do. And that's one of the things that's also a bit biased for me in watching this video, is being at some of these spots before experiencing them. You always get a newfound appreciation for how difficult some of the tricks are when you can see it in person for yourself. Got the full true Mizu and 360 top acid here. This is like golden era Chris Farmer as well for this baggy clothing era. And I know sometimes people lament going back to the days of hammers and back to the days of baggy clothing. Nice big drop rail in that one. This rail is really tall. I've been out to that one as well, and it's surprisingly big. Go back torque. You got the big baggy undershirt, the overshirt. Remember the Denial clothing beanies? I think Denial was the one that had those like visor beanies. I used to love that. This is another spot I've been to, and jumping over the fence and into a really cheese grater-esque bank. Like, you don't get a sense of it on the camera here from the video, but that bank is really, really rough. We'll just put it that way. It's that Makio style going into Makio. And look at this alley-oop fish brain, like how far over he is leaning on that. That is just textbook. That's exactly how you want to do it. You've got the 360 soul, jumps over the kink to soul grind. Really big kink rail. That's another one that's a very difficult hold. 360 soul, lining it up for the line. Hitting a back pud slide down a down ledge. Very ahead of his time. I mean, it's obvious why both Alex Broskow and Chris Farmer are regarded as 2 of the best inline skaters ever, and have withstood the test of time, still being around in the industry and really leading it today. Another really solid spin trick there from Chris Farmer. And we'll get some switch ups here coming in on the kink rail. I think this one is an X grind. I think that's what it looks like from this angle. A little bit difficult for me to make out. This time we'll go top sole, then switch into the right foot sole on the way down. Look how steezy that Sid is on that alley-oop top horn too, or on the zero spin top sole. We got the true Savannah, or back Savannah, depending on what you want to call it. Just everything is so flawless, so clean, and the way he crouches onto the tricks is something I've always admired going all the way back, and even to today. Chris Farmer is one of those people that has the most unique trick vocabularies, as well as the most extensive. Like, he can do just about anything on just about any obstacle, and you never know what to expect. Like here, getting the switch and regular true spin top sole. Very difficult trick for most people, let alone doing it switch. I think that transfer is one of the last tricks here as we go into the true spin fish brain to fast slide. And then a 450 Royale, and I think this is where he tags it off to Chris Haffey with this clip, and they do like a back-to-back grind. All right, guys, well, now comes the tricky part, and that's deciding which of these 2 sections is the superior video profile. And I'll be honest, I think there's a lot of similarities between these that makes it very difficult to make that determination. Now, in the first category with tricks and amplitude, I think both of them have a very similar trick vocabulary and technicality that they bring to the table, but I would give a little bit of an edge here to Alex Broskow's part in KFC 3 for the amplitude. He had a lot of big gaps and a lot of big disaster grinds, and those ones can be scary, so we'll give a slight edge there to Alex Broskow. Now, in terms of style and just fluidity, this is where I think both skaters shine. They've both always been at the peak of the rollerblading industry when it comes to style and just how controlled they are with their tricks. I am going to give a slight, and I mean the slightest of edges here, to Chris Farmer, and I might be a little bit biased, but the way he crouches into things, the way he carries himself, his landings, the way he even spins in and locks into tricks is just so smooth. It's so fluid that I can't really think of it being any better than that. So this is basically a push for both of them, but they're both extremely good. Next, if we look at the filming and the editing, I love both of these parts. The replay value is off the charts. Now, if I'm being totally objective, I can see why people would maybe choose Alex Broskow here. However, having been to some of these spots, having grown up watching the section, I have to go with Chris Farmer's section. The Hands on the Bible song, whenever I hear it, it gets me juiced for skating. And I've seen it so many times that it just resonates through my mind. Again, though, this is one that could easily be a toss-up. And finally, we have the category about impact on the industry, and both of these videos are ones that are regarded as some of the best videos ever made in rollerblading history. Now, I know Words was a game changer when that came out, and really all of the Mind Game videos were ones that people looked at as the front runners, the ones that were setting the trends and pushing the boundaries of what skating had to offer. But I think the KFC videos have that same legacy. So here again, I think it's really a push. Again, my bias is going to overrule just a little bit, and I'm going to go with Words with Chris Farmer's section and ultimately give him the win in these two battles, but that's just because of my subjectivity and my bias. They're both two amazing parts, very similar to each other, and like I said, there's no doubt that Chris Farmer and Alex Broskow deserve to be etched into the Mount Rushmore of rollerblading for everything that they've done and continue to do, because they're still on top of their game even all these years later. But anyway, that's my subjective opinion. I want to know what you guys think about these two sections head-to-head. KFC 3, Alex Broskow versus Words, part 1 of Chris Farmer. Which one are you taking? Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Skate Battles. I'm Butch Lehman of Roll, Minnesota, reminding you all to stay safe, stay healthy, and get out there and do some rollerblading. We'll see y'all with the next video. Till then, peace, everybody.